Regret is useful in passing, and it's only useful in passing as a gauge for future reference, for future choices. The regret itself can be so much worse than the actions and decisions that you regret. This is a lifeline that is under threat.
Yeah.
And other children are going to take it away.
Now I understand why that's disastrous. Yeah.
Which to the unconscious part of your brain means you're going to die.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Live Support with Odille for changing negative implicit childhood memories using the Remmert Method. So we've created this forum for those who've watched our YouTube videos or read our book and who need personal help with using the techniques to get changes, but aren't in a position to do one-to-one sessions. So if you're new to the method, to the Remmert Method, be sure to check the link in the description of this post. And if you'd like to submit your question or you'd like me to work with you in one of these sessions, check the link in the description of this video for details on that. So first today is Samina, and she said she would be in the room, so she's not here yet. So I'm going to come back to that one. And if she's not able to be in the room, I can just answer her question apart from that. So in the meantime, I'm going to go on to a topic that I had a request for. So this is about regrets. So someone wrote to me last week about struggling with regrets and saying they can't let go of decisions they've made in the past, choices and decisions they've made in the past. And I know those feelings well. There were so many decisions and choices that I made in my life that if I were to go back now, with the knowledge that I have now, I would definitely make very different choices. And there's, of course, everything I now know about brain and the techniques that we now use and teach that I so wish that I'd found when I was much, much younger, of course. But here's the main point about regret. Regret is useful in passing, and it's only useful in passing as a gauge for future reference, for future choices. So in other words, to make a note for yourself of what you'll do differently next time. Beyond that, regret is not only not useful, it can be very damaging. And the regret itself can be so much worse than the actions and decisions that you regret. So it can be worse than the regret itself can be worse than the things you regret. So although we can't physically go back in time and do things differently now, we have no power to do that. We do have the power to choose what we do with the regret now. That is within our power right now, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. So why is it so difficult and sometimes even impossible to take our focus off the events of the past, over which we have absolutely no power right now, and focus instead on the things we do have power over so that we can at least make the most of what we do have moving forward? Well, here's why that's so difficult, if not impossible at times. The unconscious part of the brain automatically and without our conscious engagement or even awareness fixates on the so-called danger. And this is because the top priority for that unconscious part of the brain is survival. So it doesn't matter what we consciously want or don't want, or what we logically think. To the unconscious part of the brain, if you take your focus off tiger to look at the pretty flowers, you'll die. And since the unconscious part of the brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination, can't use logic or reason, and can't judge something as unrealistic, even though the things that we regret from the past aren't actual tigers, it's not real physical danger, the chemicals that are produced as we think of those things are the same chemicals, including adrenaline and cortisol, that are produced when our lives actually are in danger. So it creates the same physiological state, same state of emergency. So this means that as you think about whatever it is you regret in your past, while you consciously know that's in the past and I wish I'd done it differently, the unconscious part of your brain is in real time pumping stress chemicals into your system and putting your brain and your body into that fight, freeze, flight emergency state, as if your life is in danger. So that's why it's so difficult to let those things go. The unconscious part of your brain doesn't have the ability to determine the difference between the past and now. Everything's happening right now. And as far as that part of your brain is concerned, you are in physical danger right now. And that's why it's so difficult to come out of that state and focus on anything positive. And the longer you stay in that state, the more fixated your brain becomes on that so-called danger. So if you think of the unconscious part of your brain as a dog, a guard dog, and your conscious mind is you, the dog's owner. And as soon as the dog notices a sound outside the front door, he runs to the door and starts barking and barking and barking at the door. The dog thinks there's someone trying to come in, and he's alerting you to the danger, and he's also warning the intruder. Now, you can say to the dog, it's okay, it's just roadworks. They're just, they're working on the road outside, and it sounds loud and dangerous, but it's not anything dangerous. It's just people working on the road. But of course, the dog has no ability to understand what you're saying. So that won't make the dog stop barking and take his focus off the door. So he won't take his focus off the door until either the noise stops and whatever was making the noise has definitely gone, or you are able to call the dog away and distract him with a toy or a treat or whatever. And at first, that may be difficult, depending on how excited he's already got by that point. So if he's only just started barking, it would probably be easier to distract him because he won't be as agitated yet. The longer he's been barking, the higher the level of emergency in him, the more difficult it will be to distract him. And if you didn't know that it's just roadworks, and you go and stand by the door, listening to the dog barking and listening to the loud noises outside and feeling frightened and kind of buying into that situation, then of course, the dog's never going to stop barking. And the two of you are just going to stay in that state. In the same way, as your mind focuses on the regret, that's your brain recognizing so-called danger, which is the dog hearing a noise. The truth is, whatever you regret is not a threat to your life in this moment. And there's nothing you can do to change it right now. So continuing to focus on it is basically joining your dog at the front door and feeling the fear as he barks at a harmless noise. Focusing on the regret is not going to change the results. It's not going to magically undo whatever happened. But what it does do is it holds you back and it keeps you stuck in that state, and it robs you of the potential you have for more enjoyable experiences now moving forward. So it's important to remember that you've always done the best you could in each moment of your life with the unconscious childhood references, the unconscious beliefs that form your self-image and worldview that you had at that time. So the choice you have now is, one, continue to focus on what you regret and what should have been and how things could have been different and so on. In other words, continue to pump stress chemicals into your system in real time and stay stuck. And that's okay. That's, you are the boss of you. So you get to do that if that's what you choose. And there's no right or wrong. It's just cause and effect. Or you can make the decision, do the best you can with what you do have now moving forward. In other words, you're currently holding a hand of cards that you've been dealt, playing cards that you've been dealt. And you can either focus on the fact that you wish you'd been dealt different cards and you should have had different cards, and then not play the game because that's what you're doing. You're not actually making any moves. Or you can use your strategic thinking to work out, okay, well, what would be the best move using these cards that I do have? And then you can enjoy playing the game. One way or another, while you have no control over your past choices anymore, you are in every moment choosing your experience in this moment and moving forward by where you're putting your focus in this moment. So your power is in where you put your focus right now. So you can choose to use the 2-minute brain chemistry exercise. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video, and change your negative implicit childhood memories and practice the new ones. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description of this video as well, and use the other techniques we teach to develop your own empowerment and empower yourself now. And again, I'll put all those links in the description of this video. And as you bring the stress chemicals down using these techniques and start producing feel-good chemicals, you'll bring the prefrontal cortex of your brain back online, giving yourself access to your cognitive thinking, which means you'll be able to see things differently. You'll be able to notice different opportunities, come up with different solutions you couldn't have seen while you had no access to that part of your brain because of the stress chemicals in your system. You'll be more creative, more inspired, more motivated, and all of that will lead you forward to different results now instead of staying stuck in the past. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need any help with any of that. All right. So next up, let's have a look. Samina isn't here yet, so I'm going to go on to see if Swasti is ready. Swasti, are you ready?
Hi. Yeah.
Hey, how can I help you today?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of have this well, I wrote down I wanna work on making myself feel more like important. Right. So I've been trying to create references of where I say something and my parents are saying, like, accepting it in the first kind of go. So they don't they don't question it, they don't, like, talk over it, because that's what they normally do. But I'm having a hard time feeling like I'm important enough.
Okay. All right. So what happens when you try to imagine those new scenes of your parents actually engaging and listening to you?
It's like dismissing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And in what way are they dismissing? Is it expression or something they're saying or something they're doing?
It's like I can feel, like the rejection.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So let's try this. So I want you to create that scene, whatever scene you've been working on there, there's the little you and there's your parents, and that little you is talking, and what you've been trying to do is change how your parents are reacting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's take your parents out of the scene completely, and I want the adult, you as an adult, step into that scene. So
Okay.
your parents aren't there, it's just you as an adult and the little you. Can you imagine that? All right. Now I want you to imagine that little you is doing the same thing. She's speaking, she's doing the same thing. And how do you feel as the adult listening to that child?
So I'm the adult me, like the adult me is listening to the little me.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That feels good. Like I can, give her attention.
Good. And do you feel the feeling in that scene between you and the little you that you want to feel with the little you and your parents?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Because
Okay.
I have I have real life examples. Like people around me do listen to me,
Great.
but it's like in my head I can't create that.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've got that feeling strongly for the little you and the adult you. Now let's take the adult you and bring your parents in. And I want you to imagine that feeling of listening, engaging, respecting, that calm connection, whatever's there, you've got that feeling. And I want you to imagine it is a thing that you have. So it's a ball of light, or it's an object, or it's a accessory, whatever you like, a gift of some sort. You've got it?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
good. And I want you to see if you're able to hand that to your parents
Okay.
so that they now have that thing that gives them that quality.
Yeah. So it's a blue ball, which gives them like the ability to listen and
Very
give attention.
good job. And so that blue ball, so now they've each got one. They've each got a blue ball. And I want you to imagine that that blue ball gets absorbed into them. So it becomes part of them.
Yes.
Becomes part of who they are automatically. Can you do that?
I can do that. Yeah.
Very good. Good job, Swasti. So now let's put the little you and your parents in that scene. And are you able to create that feeling now with the little you?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. And does it have the feeling that you were aiming for?
It does. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But so the question here is like, how do I know it's real? Like, how do I know it's really me in the past and not just a scene? If you get what I mean, like, yeah, my brain doesn't sometimes the conscious mind goes that it's not really you. It's not you in the past.
Okay, very good. So that's a great question. And of course, the truth is, it's all you and it's only you because this is your brain, right? There is no one else in your mind, in your head. And what's literally happening is it's your brain with neurons connecting. It's neurons connecting in your own brain. So it is all only you in there. There is nothing else. So even the other people you think of are all you because it's only your brain. Those people aren't really there. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like if you've got your computer and you are, whatever screen you're looking at, whatever movies you're looking at, it's all your computer is producing it. It's coming from, okay, right. That's probably, okay, forget that. That's not, that's not a great analogy, but it's certainly if everything is inside. So unlike the computer, let's use that then. Unlike the computer or a television or something, there's nothing coming from outside like signals or anything like that. It's all literally just neurons connecting.
Okay.
There are no pictures in the brain. There are no sounds in the brain. There's nothing in the brain except cells.
Yeah.
And chemicals and molecules.
Okay, so for me to believe that, do I just have to consciously remind myself that of what you just said?
So in two parts. So partly yes. So it starts with reminding yourself because you want to bring the logic on board first, and then so definitely the logic, reminding yourself, and then it's practice. So for example, how do you know that what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had porridge.
Porridge. How do you know you had porridge?
I just know. I don't specifically remember the morning, but I just know.
Yes. Yeah. And the reason you know that you had porridge is because you have a memory of it. And even though you may not be remembering it in detail now, your brain registered that you had porridge and then you didn't question it.
Yes.
Right? Logically, you didn't question it.
No.
So what's happening as you think of your childhood, as your brain, so if your brain was to now go, if you were to logically question what you had for breakfast and go, but maybe I didn't have porridge, maybe I had toast, you'd answer that and go, no, I know I had porridge. Right? So now creating these new memories, as your brain goes, oh, but how do I know that's really me? Answer it. Go, no, I know it's really me.
Okay.
Just like I know I had porridge. So you get to decide. There's nothing beyond you deciding what's real and what's not.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And your conscious mind has the ability to instruct the unconscious part of your brain, or allow the unconscious part of your brain to believe the new stuff while knowing logically that's not what really happened. Just like when you watch a movie, you have the ability to go, to know it's just a movie while you still feel all the emotions, because the unconscious part of you is believing what you're watching.
Okay. Yes.
So it's about, yes, reminding yourself it's just neurons and it's all you anyway. And number two, answering it.
Okay.
And taking that control as you are the boss of you, and you decide, I'm choosing this new, the new references. So I'm deciding, yes, that's the real one. Does that help to answer the question?
Yes, that has. Yes, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. You're very welcome.
And if there's no one else, can I ask one more thing?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so basically I have this feeling of, so it's the whole like left behind thing again, but I don't know what piece is missing. So basically I came across this person like a month ago, and the situation is like, well, yeah, this is talking like relationship, like it's quite new, but I don't know yet. But so it is like, I feel that the references we worked on the past couple of months, and so with availability and like, like attention and love and respect and reciprocating it, have really like genuinely showed up. Like, I kid you not, I was like, wow, like this is such a shift from, like the past.
Good.
But
Very
the issue
good. Well
is,
done.
yeah, I was like, oh my God. Like this is my first time coming across someone like that. So it's not like nobody else exists. So the situation itself is not really an issue for me. It's more like how I'm feeling towards it. So, but he leaves in February, but that is not set in stone. So, and he'll leave for London or Australia. So it's not even like, like a tiny city, 2 hours away or something. It's quite a big move. So my thing is in my head, oh, like this is so good, but then he's gonna leave, and the only focus, well, half of my focus in the day is like, they're gonna go, instead of, oh, what's happening is good, great, like amazing right now. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Very good. And so, of course, what's happening is your brain is fixated on the danger. So, there's the good parts, there's the good stuff of it, but there's this threat, this danger. And so, your brain, of course, is automatically focusing on the tiger instead of the flowers. Makes sense. All right. So tell me, what's wrong with this person moving? What's the worst thing about this?
It's taken me a long time to come across someone genuine like that. And I'm not sure if it will happen again anytime soon. So if it is inevitable that they're going to go, then in my head I want to be secure that there'll be someone else who will come through, like, as in, not like that I need someone else, but I just, what I mean, like, yeah,
I understand. And so how do you know there won't be someone else? How do you know that this is the only one?
I don't, but I find it hard to see into the future and believe there are enough good people in the world.
Yes. And again, that's because the brain is constantly trying to predict the future based on the present, which is based on the past. So based on how, your experience of the present, which is based on references from the past. So as you think about the possibility of there being anybody else, your brain is going, there's clearly nobody else. Because the brain's not very good at predicting the future, and we can't predict the future objectively, certainly. So let's say that this is the only, so let's go worst case scenario, this is the only one there is, and he moves away, and then what? What will happen?
That's so sad.
Well, what will your life be like? What will you do?
Okay, to be honest, again, this is the whole conscious subconscious thing. Nothing has changed inside of me. Like, I feel no different, because it is all inside of you. So I will feel no different. And if I feel whatever I feel for a couple of, weeks, then that will just be temporary, and I will get over it like I have before, because I have the ability to.
Yes.
But I don't know, it will be a void.
Right. For a short while.
Mhm.
And then what's going to happen is it's going to depend on where you put your focus and what you choose to do moving forward.
Yeah.
So let's say you never end up with the person you want to, with somebody like that, then you'll do whatever you can to make your life fabulous anyway.
Mhm.
Right? You have other options for enjoyment in life. You will, you know what I mean? So you will continue to make the best of what you do have. Now, the likelihood is that there will absolutely be someone else, and probably even better, because that's most likely to happen. But you want to make peace with that worst case scenario so that your brain's not fixated on it, thinking there's a danger there. There's no danger. You'll be okay either way.
Yeah.
Right? So now let's look at, so this feeling of this person seems fantastic and there's so much good around him, and now he may be going away. Whatever that feeling is, you got that feeling now?
Yes. Mhm.
Very good. And where in your childhood did you feel that same feeling? And of course, it may or may not be to do with the same topic.
Oh, this is new. So my grandpa would always leave like the house in the morning and like not come back till late.
Mhm.
So he would just wander around the village kind of thing. Like he didn't have a job. But it was like he was very not present. Like he didn't really
Right.
contribute much to the household. He was just there.
Mhm.
Like he was just there for the name of it. He wasn't really there.
Right. And how did that feel for the little you?
Like confused. So
Confused.
confused.
Yes. Very good. This is brilliant. Good job. And how did that little you feel about your grandfather, or what was that child you, what was her experience of your grandfather?
Yeah, I really liked him when he was there.
Okay. Yeah,
And
there you
then, but then he would not be there. But then when he was there, it was great. Like it was amazing.
There you go. Very good. And when he wasn't there, what was it like?
So it was strange because it was like waiting. It was like waiting around for
Mhm.
him to show up.
Yeah,
Mm,
very good. So does that feel familiar?
not really. I can't relate the feelings, but
Okay.
that's obviously a memory that needs changing.
The fact that
Yeah.
it's come up means it's definitely
Yeah.
connected, even if this doesn't seem to be a conscious, logical reason. Okay,
Mhm.
very good. So let's change it. So I want you to imagine that. So pick a scene where your grandfather is about to go. He's going to leave, whatever that situation was. You got one?
Mhm.
Very good. And
Yes.
now, as he's leaving, what would that little you ideally like instead? So instead of him leaving, would you prefer he stays, or would you like to go with him?
Um,
And you can do both.
yeah, I want to stay with him. So, but I want to leave with him. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So at first, let's say you say to him, so he's about to go, and you say, "Can I come with you?" And
Mhm.
he says, "Oh, of course, yes, that'll be fun." And you go with him on his adventures around the village. How would
Okay.
that be?
Yeah, that's great.
Very good. So create that memory, practice it until it's established. Then the next piece that we want there is that he's about to leave, and you say, "No, don't leave, stay with me." And he
Mm.
says, "Oh, yes, of course I will." And he stays with you and you have fun, and it's lovely because he's there.
Oh, okay.
How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, I had like another bit to it that came up actually. That's more
Oh, yes.
significant. Yeah, so he would always praise other kids. Like always so because of the village and the situation of how the village is, people just come in and out of each other's houses. So he was really good at like teaching Hindi, so other kids would learn Hindi off him, and I wasn't like I that was not my strong point. So he would always be praising everyone else. And the comparison thing was huge. Like he would show like, their notebooks and their homework. And it was mocking. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes. So that you're right, that is very significant. So
Mhm.
that can create this foundation of unsure, insecurity, not safe.
Yeah.
Very good. Oh, very good, Swasti. Okay, so let's see. He's got these other children that he's teaching Hindi to, and then he's got their books, and he shows you their books, and you have a magic wand, and you freeze the whole scene, and then you have a book. You are able to magic up your own book, and you're fluent in Hindi.
Mhm.
Okay, beyond what is expected for your age.
Okay.
And you have these books, and you've got plenty of time. You've frozen everything, you've frozen time. So now you have time to magic up whatever you want to magic up, and then you unfreeze everything, unfreeze him and everything else, and then you show him your stuff, your books, and you say to him in Hindi, well, what do you think of this? Or whatever. And he goes, oh, I didn't know you could. And he is so proud he could burst.
Mhm.
How would that feel?
Yeah, that feels great. I always love the magic wand thing. It's like I can do anything with it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Very good. So that's a stepping stone. And then
Okay.
establish it. And then the next piece is where he is showing you other children's books to say how much better you are than them. And he's saying, look at this. You just shows you how brilliant you are. Have you seen these? So it's a comparison, but it's the other way.
Yes, yeah.
It's comparing you being so much better. And he is so proud of you because he's your grandfather. Look at my granddaughter. She's completely fluent,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. I love that praise. I want the
Good.
attention and praise. Yeah.
Of course, because that's survival for children. So that's perfect. And then you go with him through the village, and he's bragging about you to you overhear him even when you're not actually in the conversation. He's not saying it to you. You can overhear him telling other people how brilliant you are and how proud he is. She gets it from me, that kind of thing.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And so really then establish that so that you are building this incredibly strong foundation of like roots of being safe and valued and valuable.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know it was so deep rooted. Like whenever I look for these things, I just go to my parents, but my parents came after my grandparents, which I always forget. Yeah.
Exactly. So then you come to your experiences with your parents, and your brain is referring to all of this stuff from earlier with your grandfather. And especially because it would be different references if you didn't have a good relationship with him, or you were frightened of him, or it was a negative thing. But the fact that it was a positive thing, and now this positive thing is in danger, and this is one of the very few positive things you have. So it's not like you have your parents and you've got this strong relationship with your parents, and then your grandfather is an additional bonus kind of thing. This is a lifeline that is under threat.
Yeah.
And other children are going to take it away.
Now I understand why that's disastrous. Yeah. Yeah.
Which to the unconscious part of your brain means you're going to die.
Yeah.
So that little you is living in an emergency state of survival, which doesn't help with learning anything, Hindi or anything else.
No.
Because your prefrontal cortex isn't online for you to be able to comprehend and retain information.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So establish those stepping stones, and then do the final memory where you are just, you're a natural, and your grandfather. So all of that we've just created there, and you go around, you can hear him bragging about you, and you are the center of his world. And I would create scenes where there's you and your grandfather and some other children come in to the scene. They come into the house or whatever. And your grandfather, very kindly, but he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't right now. I'm with my granddaughter."
Mm-hmm.
So that he is choosing you over other people, other children, other activities. So that really continues to establish that safety in you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Good job.
Okay.
Practice all of that until it's established, and then think about this relationship again and think, okay, so if this person goes away, moves elsewhere, how does it feel now? And see if that's changed. And if not, of course, there may be other things, other references. But this whole thing with your grandfather, and I don't think we've ever, I don't remember you talking about it before. So this is new. So that's fantastic. That will be affecting a lot of different things, not just this relationship.
Yeah, like I can already link it to like comparison in everyday life, because I always compare myself with everything. Like I always want to be the best. But when like you can be the best, but sometimes when it doesn't happen, then I'm beating myself up.
And that's it. And that's because if you're not the best, you won't survive. Literally, you'll die as far as the unconscious part of your brain is concerned. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Good job, Swasti. I'm so proud of you. You're
Thank
very,
you.
very welcome. You're very welcome, sweetheart. And thank you for being here and sharing this as well to help others. Good job, you. All right. And Samina didn't come, so I'm going to answer her question, and then she can get it in the recording. So Samina said childhood trauma and adult trauma, overthinking, negative self-talk, and she says she'd like, good quality relationships with myself and emotionally strong and sensitive self-management, and to be more happy and positive. So these are the things she'd like help with. So if you would like to be in the room at some point, Samina, I can take you through specifics. But in the meantime, first of all, well done for reaching out for help with this. And so regarding the trauma, I'm going to post a link to the video for addressing trauma safely on your own in the description of this video. So you can follow along with that video to safely address the childhood trauma first. So follow along with that to do it safely. So our experiences as adults are filtered through the references from our childhood experiences. So that's why we want to address and change the childhood memories first, before then moving on to the adult ones. So once you've followed along with that video on addressing trauma safely, if you're finding it difficult to change those childhood memories, use the due justice technique, and I'll put the link to that in the description of this video as well. And then in addition to that, practice the little 2-minute brain chemistry exercise to start conditioning your brain and body to produce lower levels of stress chemicals and higher levels of feel-good chemicals. And I'll post a link to that in the description of this video as well. Then when it comes to the overthinking and the negative self-talk, when the overthinking and negative self-talk come up, in that moment, try to remember to remind yourself that those thoughts are coming from the child in you, the little you. So it's the child in you who is expressing those thoughts and feelings. And then answer those thoughts and feelings the way you would if you had a real child with you who was expressing them. So how would you answer that child? What would you say to reassure them and help them to feel better? Of course, you wouldn't join in and make them feel worse. And that's what we tend to do with ourselves. We tend to add to what that child is feeling and make it worse. So whatever you would say to a real child that was in the room with you, who was expressing those thoughts and feelings, say that to yourself. Answer yourself, reassure that child in you. And then immediately do the little 2-minute brain chemistry exercise and play one of the new childhood memories that you've created to redirect your brain to those new, more empowering references. So I hope that helps. But of course, let me know if you need more suggestions or if you need clarification on anything. And that's it for today. So if anyone, if you've got any questions or you'd like me to work with you personally, check the description, check the link in the description for the details on that. And I look forward to helping you with that. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye now.